Hi, I'm Tina Marks, and welcome to the Domino Effect. Today's show is going to be extremely powerful. We're going to be discussing a practice that's been around for thousands of years in other countries. It was brought to the United States in 1959, and some of the most successful people in the world use this practice on a daily basis to reach their maximum potential. What is this practice? Let's take a look.
I looked inside. I was hollow in the happiness department. And I said, I gotta get that. And so I started a transcendental meditation.
Sorrow, anxiety, traumatic stress, depression, hate, anger, rage, fear start to lift away. Life just gets better and better and better.
But when it's calm and still, even what struggle becomes beauty.
The kids love it. The kids in the West Bank love it. The kids in Brazil love it. I think this is what people need. They don't need high-minded talk so much as results.
Speaking as a scientist, the amazing thing about transcendental meditation is the very well-established research showing that the technique impacts things that we didn't think were changeable.
Transcendental meditation saved my life. Today, I can say I am a meditator.
I'm meditating 37 years.
I've been using it for almost 40 years.
It is the only time I have that stillness long enough that I open my eyes and I'm sad that it's 20 minutes later.
I've found that there is an ever-present sanctuary within me.
Have you ever wondered what your life would look like if only you could change the course of its direction? Well, you can if you change your mindset. You see, your mindset has everything to do with the decisions that you make, and it's these decisions that will create your destiny. This is known as the domino effect. In each one of our shows, I will be interviewing various wellness professionals that can change your life, personally, professionally, financially, and environmentally. All that is required is an open mind. Welcome back. So today we're going to be talking to two transcendental meditation instructors about how TM works and all the amazing benefits. But first, I want to list some of the benefits that include the reduction and improvement of the following: stress and anxiety, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, eating disorders, obesity, depression, bipolar, digestive disorders, addictions, ADD, post-traumatic stress disorder, memory loss, sleep disorders, relationship improvement, and the improvement of clarity. Okay, so we have our first guest, Dennis Rowe. Welcome, Dennis.
Thank you, Tina. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Great. So let's start off. Well, the one common denominator that I have found in this whole list is stress. Would you agree with that?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
That is the basis of all these ailments, and I understand that, or know myself, because I have been through the program, that transcendental meditation definitely helps with stress.
Yes, very much so. It's been shown to be very effective at rooting out even very deep stress, and that helps to promote health and well-being in the entire physiology, including the mind, body, and all relationships with others.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about TM and how it works, because a lot of our viewers maybe haven't even heard of transcendental meditation. So why don't you just give us a little bit of background on it?
Good, yes, I will. Basically, transcendental meditation technique is not a belief or a lifestyle, it's not a religion, it's a technique that you use in order to allow the mind to expand, to experience the full potential of consciousness that exists within everyone. And it's something that is easily learned by a certified teacher of transcendental meditation. And it's something that you only need to spend about 20 minutes twice a day practicing in order to receive a lot of benefits in many areas of life.
Okay, so when you say accessing your true conscious potential, can you explain a little bit what that means? Because I mean, people think subconscious, conscious. What exactly does that mean?
Basically, we start any meditation practice from the conscious thinking level of the mind. That's where we're thinking all day long.
Okay.
But where TM is different from other techniques is that it's effortless, it's natural, it uses the natural tendency of the mind without any need for concentration or control of the mind. And what happens is the mind, with the awareness, can transcend or go beyond that conscious thinking level to experience more subtle, more refined levels of our own thinking process, and even transcend the finest state of thought to experience what we call a state of restful alertness. It's a very peaceful, blissful, silent state of awareness deep within the mind, and it's actually the source of all of the creativity and intelligence that we use throughout the day. And by practicing the technique regularly, we just start to tap into that reservoir of intelligence and creativity and bliss, and it just tends to spill over into our life.
Our higher knowingness, would that be fitting to say?
Yes.
Our higher knowingness?
Yes.
Because I really do believe that we have all the answers inside of us, that there's a wealth of knowledge, and outside of, so when you say maybe the higher level, what would I be saying? If on the higher level of what we are thinking on a daily basis, that's more like our rational mind, correct?
Yeah, there's different aspects actually of brain functioning. There's the prefrontal cortex, which is in the front of the brain, is the center of higher order thinking. It's like for decision making, logic, moral reasoning, things like that.
Okay.
And what happens is that stress tends to shut this part of the brain down. There's an image here we can look at that shows the brain of a normal person on the left, and on the right it's a very highly stressed individual. And you see that on the right there's these big holes at the top there, and they call those functional holes in the prefrontal cortex. They're not physical holes,
okay,
but it means that part of the brain has just stopped working. And so what happens is the primitive part of the brain, the back part of the brain, takes over, and that's where impulsive decisions are made, addictive behavior stems from
fight or flight. That would be that?
Exactly,
Okay, that would
yeah.
be the part of the brain.
So rather than making decisions based on clear thinking, on logic, people tend to make decisions based on fear, anxiety, hatred, things like that.
Exactly. Oh, well, that's my book's about that, fear or faith. So it's so you are operating from that part of your mind when you become stressed.
Right.
So the whole objective is to get rid of the stress so you can operate from your highest potential, highest potential part of your mind.
Right.
Okay.
And what happens, interestingly, during the transcendental meditation practice, we're not thinking about enlivening different parts of the brain or anything like that. We're just practicing this very simple, natural technique, very effortlessly. But a lot of changes occur in the brain functioning at that time. There's a level of coherence that is not found in any other type of meditation that occurs throughout the brain, more orderly style of functioning, which translates in activity into clearer thinking, just having a much clearer mind, more creativity. And also at the same time, interestingly, you can see in this graphic here that the blood flow to the brain changes. The blood increases in the prefrontal cortex area, which you see on the left there in red, and that's bringing nutrients, oxygen to that very important part of the brain, and it's reducing the blood flow to the primitive part of the brain. So it's kind of calming down that impulsive part and strengthening the more higher order functions of the brain, all completely spontaneously and automatically.
That's so interesting, and without effort, you said.
Completely effortlessly.
Completely
yes.
effortless. And so, you know, because that was, when I went through the training, and I had said to you, you know, am I doing it wrong? And your answer was?
You're doing it right.
You're
Absolutely.
doing it right. Because I was always under the impression meditation was about not having any thoughts while you are in meditation.
Right.
But that is not necessarily true, correct?
Right. There's a common misunderstanding that for meditation you have to clear your mind of thoughts. And if you've ever tried, if anyone's ever tried to clear their mind of thoughts, it's difficult. It's a strain. It can give you
it's
a headache.
almost like they come in
They
more
come around
thoughts.
The back, they come every which way.
Yes, exactly,
right?
exactly.
But during transcendental meditation technique, what happens is the mind settles down through that thinking process. It's like a minimizing of thought through that thinking process. And so thought is a part of meditation. It's not something that we're trying to get rid of. And by being effortless, we're keeping the mind active but undirected. It allows the natural tendency of the mind to lead the awareness very systematically to finer and finer states of thought and to experience that transcendental level of thought.
You're letting your mind go where it wants to go as opposed to trying to control where your mind goes.
Well, it's kind of like if anyone's ever taken a dive into a swimming pool. What do? Well, you take the correct angle and then basically you let go because gravity pulls you right down into the water. Right. Same thing with TM. You have to give the mind the correct angle, an inward direction, and then we can easily dive within just by letting go, because we let the natural tendency of the mind, which is to always seek greater happiness, just to very naturally take over and guide the mind to these finer states of thought, because they're more charming to the mind. There's more intelligence, more creativity, more bliss as the mind transcends. So it happens completely automatically.
I think that that statement is so interesting, that your mind is always seeking fulfillment. And I think that is, in a nutshell, that's what happens when you start to transcend. You're just letting it go where it wants to go, and because it's always seeking fulfillment and integration and wholeness and health and everything else. Okay, so that makes perfect sense. So, so a little bit more about the practice. You said it takes 20 minutes a day. 20
minutes twice a day. We recommend meditating in the morning and again sometime late afternoon. It's kind of a preparation for activity. It's something that we kind of recharge our battery and then go out and act all day and then come back and recharge again. And what happens is the mind starts to use more of that potential that's there, and also the body gains a very deep rest during the TM practice, which is the key to dissolving stress in the physiology.
Okay, so I understand that all this is backed up by studies, correct?
Yes, Tina. There's actually been over 600 scientific studies, including 350 peer-reviewed scientific studies that have shown tremendous results for the application of TM in many different areas, for one's personal health and well-being, but also, for example, in educational settings, in schools, where it's helped students to be able to get better grades and lower truancy and suspension rates.
Actually, we have a clip on that, so why don't we go ahead and take a look at the clip?
In the 2002-2003 school year, we had 41 murders occur in this neighborhood. And the students at this school either were related to the persons who did the shooting, who were shot, or were present when the shooting took place. So there was a tremendous amount of stress and anxiety and fear for the students. In order for kids to learn and be creative, they have to feel happy and safe. So I needed to start working on the social emotional end of things. And I heard about quiet time. And we took a brave step forward into a new world of teaching our students how to meditate.
So I understand that's an amazing clip. So I understand it also helps children and adults with ADD and ADHD.
Yes.
Can you explain, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, there have been some very interesting studies that have shown that the symptoms of anxiety and depression reduce by as much as half, and that their problem solving improves and their attention span is also improved. And similar results have been found with veterans who, suffering with post-traumatic stress, have similar types of symptoms.
We actually have a clip on that too, so let's go to that.
I was seeking, I don't know what I was seeking, but I was looking for something. I was looking for some answers to try to figure out the world and my place in it. And I found TM. I just feel like I can finish the rest of the day. It's cleansing, it's soothing. Answers just come to me. I solve problems. They get solved by themselves. Something happened 2 weeks after I started meditating. The idea of killing myself was gone.
And one interesting thing about the Transcendental Meditation technique for everyone, not just those with PTSD, is that the benefits from the practice are very wide-ranging, and they start right from the beginning of the practice.
Well, I know for myself that that's definitely the case. It started immediately for me.
Yes.
And well, thank you so much, Dennis, for being here. I'm sure that our viewers are really going to benefit from this part of our interview. Next up, we have Christy Pullen, and she's going to be telling us about TM and heart health. And now we have Christy Pullman with us, another TM instructor, and Christy is going to be telling us about TM and the benefits in heart health. Welcome, Christy.
Oh, thank you. Good to be here.
Good. I'm so glad you're here. And you're going to be telling us how TM affects heart health. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about how that works, and let's go into a little bit of the benefits, and then we're going to be taking a look at some graphs so we can see all the other areas where a lot of people wouldn't even know that it stems from the heart, a lot of different ailments, but we're going to go into that in a little bit. But go ahead and start telling us about heart health.
Great, thanks. As you mentioned earlier in the show, stress and anxiety are incredibly detrimental to the body. It affects our normal functioning, and it doesn't allow the body to function normally when we're under chronic stress and anxiety. And it puts extra strain on the cardiovascular system, the heart, right?
Yes.
So in the TM practice, the technique allows the mind and the body to settle down so that the body gains deep rest.
Mm-hmm.
And that deep rest is what allows the body to naturally heal and balance and dissolve stress.
Yes.
So with less stress and anxiety, the body is able to have its full functioning back. And what we see that the stress on the heart is especially relieved by the effects of that deep rest. Transcending is just allowing that intelligence in the body to actually heal and have the effects.
And I understand there's been a lot of money allocated towards these studies in the effects and benefits of TM in heart and blood pressure and any other way that affects your heart, correct?
That's right. The National Institutes of Health has, over the last few years, allocated over $20 million to study the effects of TM on prevention and treatment of heart-related illnesses and lowering of blood pressure.
And as we talked in our earlier segment with Dennis, there's so many studies that back up. This is not just hearsay. These are scientifically proven results and studies that are showing that this is. And in fact, you and I were speaking earlier about how the American Heart Association is. Tell us about that.
That's right. This past April, the American Heart Association looked at all of the research on TM and concluded that TM exclusively, they would suggest doctors use it in the treatment and prevention of high blood pressure.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Would that be in place of medication or along with medication, or were they suggesting both, or?
Right. Well, certainly when a person is under a doctor's care, it's always good to continue with any medications the doctor has prescribed. Mm-hmm. But what's seen when a person adds TM, then the effect on the blood pressure is normalized and balanced. And then many times people are able to reduce their medications.
Yes.
So the American Heart Association is simply saying that TM is exclusively beneficial to reducing high blood pressure.
Yes.
Over 10% reduction in blood pressure, which is absolutely amazing.
That is amazing. Actually, we have a clip on that, so let's go to the clip.
Transcendental meditation, this is a study done with subjects with high blood cholesterol. It's a one-year study looking at people who practiced TM for that year. And it was associated with a significant reduction in total cholesterol by about 10%. That's 30 millimeters of cholesterol. Now, if you're on a medication for cholesterol, we hope you can get 30 millimeters lower. in your blood cholesterol. Well, this happened through Transcendental Meditation alone. The third big one, but this one, by the way, was funded by the NIH, so it's a reputable organization supporting this work. The next study looked at a randomized trial of hypertension sufferers, people with high blood pressure, showing that Transcendental Meditation produced significant reductions in systolic and diastolic, the high number and the low number of the blood pressure, of 11 and 6 millimeters respectively. Those are big numbers. We don't get that kind of result all the time with medication.
So now we're going to go into some charts to show where it affects not just, well, everything does surround the heart, but let's go into some of the clips now. Okay, the first one we have here is blood pressure.
That's right. And this one, as we were talking about before, is a comparison to other forms of trying to reduce blood pressure. TM is more effective in reducing blood pressure than any of the education or other forms of relaxation.
That's, yes, look at that. Oh, the next one we have is reduction in cholesterol. Look at this.
That's right. Reduction in cholesterol, another huge risk factor in heart disease.
Of course. That all leads to heart attacks. So cholesterol, then we have insulin. This was very interesting to me.
Sure. Well, this is actually referring to insulin resistance in patients with coronary heart disease. And again,
insulin resistance meaning?
Well, insulin is needed for correct functioning. As with any hormones or any natural systems in the body, everything in the body has a very delicate balance. And when any part of the body, the hormones or any of the systems are out of balance, we see disease.
Yes.
And so insulin resistance is a risk factor in coronary heart disease. So in understanding all of these studies, what we find is that TM is allowing the body to balance and naturally get all of those hormones and systems back into balance.
Exactly.
So when we look at these studies, it's not that someone with normal blood pressure is going to find their blood pressure goes down.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that TM reduces blood pressure.
It's only if it's needed.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So what is out of balance for a particular physiology?
Yes.
TM enlivens the body's natural intelligence, so it is able to bring that into balance naturally.
Well, and unfortunately, when we experience stress, what do? We load ourselves up with, it could be drugs or food or alcohol or whatever it is, creating more stress. It may alleviate it for the moment, but it just adds more stress, and so then, your body never gets any kind of relief.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Because even if you are, let's say, smoking or overeating or whatever, if you start the practice of TM, I understand, because your body is releasing stress, those situations are going to clear up on their own too. For example, smoking and alcohol abuse, I understand that it helps with that. And as we're discussing, now this is making sense to me. Because if you are becoming more relaxed with TM, then you're not going to have such a knee-jerk reaction to go reach for that cigarette or go reach for that glass of wine, or not to say that you're completely going to stop, but I can see how that would happen. I mean, am I on the right track here?
Absolutely. So when we reach for something to make ourselves feel better, something that can be a self-destructive habit, that reflex is, again, trying to make us feel more relaxed, and it actually does the opposite.
And I think you just answered my next question, because my next question was, does this help with your outward appearance? As we're all, we're concerned with our inward appearance, we're concerned with our outward, and I believe what is within is shown without.
Right.
On your outward appearance. So if you are going to be less stressed, and you're going to be more peaceful, and you're going to be more joyful, and you're going to be making better decisions, you're going to look better.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because when people talk about beauty being within, beauty being more than just skin deep, that refers to the inner happiness that shines through when a person is feeling more calm.
Yes.
They're feeling less anxious, less stressed.
Yes.
And it has an effect on the body. Stress is like friction in a machine.
Yes.
But we add oil to the machine so that it is able to work smoothly and then not break down. And the same is true with the body. If there's stress in the body, it's like that friction that makes the body not work as optimally. So when people believe that as they get older, that naturally they'll begin to have less memory, or their blood pressure will go up, or these things just naturally happen to the body as it ages, that doesn't have to be the case if we allow the stress to be dissolved out of the system. And then optimal functioning comes back, and we don't have to lose our natural abilities. 20 minutes twice a day can have such a profound benefit to our lives and to our emotions and to our relationships, all of these.
Yes.
And just as you say, you feel like you have more time. So the 20 minutes twice a day actually can feel like it gives you more time because you're more efficient in your thinking and happier in your interaction with your environment.
You could not have said that better. And that's what I struggled with in the beginning when my mind was so active. How am I going to find 20 minutes? And is this really going to be worth it? But, you know, I was just saying to a friend the other day that I can't attribute this change to anything else because I'm not doing anything differently outside of my TM practice twice a day. And let me just interject here. When people say that they don't have the time, you know, how badly do you want your life to change? Physically and mentally, emotionally, all the way around. If you really do, then you'll set aside that time, and it's just like anything else. It's a form of self-discipline, and if you don't practice self-discipline, then your life really can't move forward. And that's the way you have to look at it. It is effortless, but you have to practice this self-discipline just like in any other area of your life if you want improvement.
You know, the great part about that, it's easy. It is effortless. It's natural. And so people find it's as easy as, it becomes like brushing your teeth. It doesn't feel like it's something that interrupts your day because the benefits that come from it, you wouldn't want to go without them.
Well, thank you so much, Christy, for coming on today. I learned so much, even more than I thought. I learned more and more every time I talk to you and Dennis. We can see with TM how it affects every area of our life, creating an amazing domino effect. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Tina Marks. For more information about the Palm Springs TM Center, please visit their website or call the number on the screen.